Alright, I'm back. We'll do this until like 9 o'clock and then something else, either Destiny or Daisy, I'm thinking. Adrian did it. That's what it looks like. Do you know when a woman couldn't do anything like that? In court today, there will be no mountain of evidence that will implicate you. A mountain of evidence. I'm certain that is someone. They're trying very hard to pin this whole thing on you. Donkey donk donk. He's Mr. Lawyer, dude, like I said yesterday. I'm refreshing like a spring breeze, alright. Can't let any scandal ruin that. I understand. It's almost time. Yeah. I got a complete acquittal today. I know, but I can't focus on my situation right now. Or Pearl's either. No matter what, I have to focus on winning the case by the end of the day. Indeed, well, let's get going. It's in. This is it, right? This is it, right? Good morning. This is the, this is it, Mr. Attorney. The day of the trial. She didn't harmed, right? Well, earlier this morning, she seemed a bit, I should say, tired. Don't worry, people don't die that easy. Besides, what are your relation? She's just been in a room for like a day. What you really should be concentrating on is winning trial in 36 hours. Winning today's trial. My sake as well as yours, you must win today's trial. Which is why I sent you a little present this morning. Present? When in the world would you give me a present? Figure this as well, with trial starts, and even if you don't like my gift, I should be graciously accepted and win the day's contest, if you please. Can Napper send me this present? Mr. Dude, who was that? No one has nothing to do with you, so forget you heard anything. You just need your nose get a little longer? 10 a.m. March 26th. There's no prosecutor. Matt and guard. Prosecution and defense ready. Defense is ready, Your Honor. I say, Mr. Wright, what happened to Miss Von Karma? I don't know, Your Honor. Why are you getting mad at me? Your Honor, please be quiet. Bailiff, court is in session. Please, you must tell me something. Please keep it brief. And what was it? Prosecutor Von Karma has... This morning, Miss Von Karma was shot by an unknown gunman. What? Shot. Somehow. And this is the president that I was talking about? This president. Von Karma is the one of the top prosecutors in the country at the very moment. If she were to disappear, it would be to your advantage. Totally insane. Von Karma, is she alright? I don't have the answer. Alive in stable condition. Good for you. Your buddy showed up. Your Honor, due to the circumstances, Miss Francesca Von Karma cannot appear in court today. I, Miles Edgeworth, will be taking her place. Prosecution is ready naturally. Miss Von Karma was shot in her right shoulder and is currently undergoing surgery. Luckily, I have looked at this case over and am familiar with details. Prosecution seeks to prove the guilt of Mr. Matt Wyatt. What, Mr. Matt Wingarde? The court acknowledges the prosecution. Right, I finally found the answer I was struggling on for in my long journey this past year. No. By the time this case comes to an end, you two will know the answer. Now then, prosecution what the calls for witness. Please bring Detective Gumshoe to the witness stand. Witness, your name and occupation. My name is Dick Gumshoe, sir. I'm a detective down at the precinct for now. After the trial is over, I'm supposed to turn my badge in, sir. Detective Gumshoe. Prosecution has no need for a press witness. Lift your head up and face forward like the proud officer to the Gumshoe. Yes, sir. Let's have your testimony. You went to explore the various phases of the case. We must start with there. With that, you're ready, Phoenix. This is going to be one very tough fight. Yeah, I would have to be with Edgeworth as my opponent. Answer he was struggling for. Interesting. Show me this answer. You finally found Edgeworth. Bare facts of it. What if we did Path of Exile for a little bit? I don't know. We have options. Murder happened after the Hero of Heroes award ceremony, sir. Victim, Juan Kuroda, was found dead in his hotel room. Looking into the case of the cause of death, we believe he was definitely murdered, sir. At first, we thought there was something suspicious about the empty guitar case. However, we later found out that the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder. After the award ceremony ended, the victim was alone in his room? Yes, sir. Both the victim and the defendant were alone in their rooms, sir. I see, Mr. Wright. You may begin your cross-examination. Bare facts of the case. Would you please give us a brief timeline of what happened after the ceremony? Okay, pal. The ceremony started at 6 p.m. and around 8 p.m. and then there was a short break. Special post-ceremony show was supposed to start at the lobby 30 minutes later. And that's when the victim's body was found, correct? Which is to say, the murder occurred during the 30-minute break period. Please continue with your testimony, detective. The person who discovered the victim's body was Adrian Andrews, correct? Yeah, it was Adrian Andrews you're talking about. She's the defendant, Madame Guardi's manager. She's a really pretty lady, sir, and she was a pretty lady. I wonder if she'll grace it with her presence. Man, you're like 90 years old. And visiting his room, she next went to the victim's room to get him for this show, sir. I see, and that's when she found the victim's body. Into the cause of death. Okay. Cause of death wasn't that because Miss Corrado was stabbed in the chest? Only a careless amateur would put something so brainless as that, pal. Take a good hard look at the crime photo. Now a real pro's attention would be drawn here to the banana. It's a bandana, sir. There's a finger wrapped around, tightly around his neck, sir. Ah, yes, I see. Banana scented banana. What about the knife? Seems to have been stuck in the victim's chest on purpose after his death. We have a crafty murderer in our hands. 8:15 p.m. Call strangled with a scarf and stabbed with a knife. And why did you think that? Because it was empty, pal. A jamming engine doesn't go anywhere without his bright red guitar. You couldn't find it anywhere at the scene of the crime. Oh, but how about this theory? Tanner really wanted the guitar into the crime to get it. How's that? We thought of that too, but only fingerprints in the guitar case were the victims. Only the victims, huh? I see. So much for my theory, then. Where's Corrada's fingerprints? However, we later found that the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder. I'm convinced you had nothing to do with the murder case. The guitar wasn't at the Baywater Hotel that night. Well then, where was it? Bright red guitar was eventually found in the TV studio. The victim, Juan Garuda, apparently had taken the case with him, sir. You mean he forgot to put the guitar inside the case? Yes, sir. Even when he was on stage for the ceremony, he didn't have his guitar. The guitar case was empty even before we got to the hotel. Yeah, that's right, so it really had nothing to do with that case after all. I believe this is enough. First, the victim was choked to death with his banana. Then, after the victim was dead, the killer deliberately stabbed him with a knife. Which brings me to my next point. Why then did the police arrest Matt and Garde? Because there was a reason enough to suspect them. Here it comes, looking like Edgar is back in full swing. Very well, Detective Gumshoe, please testify about the matter. Yes, sir. Matt and Garde and Juan Corrada were huge rivals with each other. They each thought the other guy was in his way. That's motive enough in my book. As for evidence, there's the Jammin' Ninja's button. Ripped off the ninja costume and was found in Mr. and Garde's Hakama. The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. The defendant all brought the knife with the dog for the crime, which makes this a premeditated murder. The defendant's fingerprints were found on the knife used in the stabbing. It was sticky on the handle, so the fingerprints came off pretty clearly, sir. Whereas the victim's button and Guardy's fingerprints in the grip, Gatewater is engraved. And there's his button. That was found in the defendant's clothes, was it? And is the button also covered in blood? Yes, we know that the blood is the victim's blood, sir. What? From the costume covered in Corrada's blood found in the Guardi's Hakama. All the points very clearly the defendant, doesn't it? Yes, it most certainly does, Your Honor. Where did they give in yet, right? I'll find the hole in your argument somehow. You can press as hard as you like, just hurry up with your usual pointless questions. Brr. But in terms of popularity, Mr. Ngardi won, did he not? Yeah. Well, you know what's ironic, pal. Juan Corona was always one step behind Mr. Ngardi and everything. This year it seemed like he'd finally caught up, ready for the big final showdown. Mr. Corona lost the Grand Prix in the end. This is too bad, he must have been pretty downhearted after losing. Wait just 1 second here. Mr. Ngardi was beating Mr. Corona in the popularity polls. Well, yeah, I guess, but... Which means that in the defendant's eyes, the victim was not a rival at all. Which means he had no able to kill at all. Yes, I quite agree. Well, detective? It's not? Well, I guess if you put it that way, then yeah, the defendant would have had no motive. Objection! Detective, I'm beginning to see why you were fired. No, not you too, Mr. Edwards. That's... Look forward to your pension negotiations? No, detective, let's continue with the testimony. And my poor pension too. Detective, if you value your money, I suggest you proceed. Yes, sir. We'll talk about my pension later, sir. Do you have any proof that button belonged to the victim? Huh? What do you mean, pal? Oh, let me put it this way. I'm asking you if you have any evidence to back up your claim that this button was ripped off of the Jammin' Ninja's costume. Oh, but can't you tell by just looking at it? His blood is on it. Anyone could have smeared the blood on there afterward. Mr. Edgeworth, help me. Sir, alright. I knew it had to be this piece of evidence. Thread. The button was attached to the costume by thread, obviously. And the thread snapped when the button was torn off. To match up the ends of the thread of the costume with the thread on the button. It's a perfect match. Yeah, that's it. It's a perfect match, pal. Work. It's Edgeworth for you, never misses a beat. When was this button found? Pretty soon after the body was found, we rounded up everyone who knew Mr. Corrado, and we did a search on them all. That's when we found the button. So it was almost immediately after the murder. Just didn't have the free time to lollygag and play tricks unlike some people. Hey, what is he trying to say about me here? Now, where the fingerprints are arranged on the knife? Oh, what do you mean, pal? By examining the fingerprints, you can determine how the defendant held the knife. For example, did he hold it normally or overhand? Is that what you mean? Well, we didn't actually think of that. I can't believe the bumbling of this department. Hopeless? Were you paying attention to the testimony, right? The defendant's fingerprints were all over the knife. There's no way to determine whether the knife was held at the moment of the murder. So the defendant, the owner of the knife. There is no way that this was a premeditated murder, even if he brought the knife. Sorry, pal. This isn't some pocket knife. Doesn't fold, so it's not great for walking around with either. Oh, well, this is not good. Prosecution can prove it was a premeditated murder. We're done for. Phoenix. Yes, something very interesting about what the detective said just now. Think carefully before it's too late. They wouldn't guard his fingerprints. Be grateful that the judge were more rash. He would have already pounded the gavel in closing. So the world of trouble. Find the weakness in the... Well... He died of suffocation, so... My god. No, I'm not holding the button. Go to the beginning, We're huge rivals with each other. Each thought the other guy was guilty in a way. That's motive enough in my book. Evidence is a Jammin' Ninja button. Ripped off the ninja costume was found in Mr. Edwards' comma. Defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. Venom brought the knife for the crime, which makes this a premeditated murder. No, I didn't want to. Oh my god. He didn't bring the knife. Can I present the knife instead? This is skate water on it. Okay, I just presented the wrong thing. Like, whatever, it's fine. Wait a second. What? The basis of your argument that this was premeditated murder is simply that my client brought a knife beforehand. That's right, pal. The defendant did not buy this knife. Huh? Take a look at this handle of the knife. You'll see what I'm talking about. Huh? Gate water sealed on the handle. Gate water. I think I've heard of the name somewhere before. Name of the hotel, the Gate Water Hotel. Oh. Murder weapon, murder knife was actually property of the hotel, which means this murder was not premeditated. Very true, and this is very big. What was that, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm so sorry, but the defense is simply too careless. What? No. I think whether the crime was premeditated or not has already been determined. How so? I meant this knife is hotel property. This is not one currently on the police force, but is dumb enough to realize this. But I didn't know, Bunker. The question is, where did this knife come from? Well, it's obvious it came from the victim's runs room. Sorry, Your Honor, but that's incorrect. Victim made his last meal before he was murdered. Would that be the case? I have to draw the court's attention to what is on top of the table. Knife and the fork on the table. Then, where in the world did this knife come from? If it pleases the court, I'd like for us to recall the room of the defendant, Mr. Matt Engarde. I found that. What was on top of his table? Something missing. Perhaps it was a single knife. Investigated the leftover dishes for fingerprints, and while we were investigating, we came to the conclusion that Mr. Engarde's knife was missing. Mr. Engarde had gone to the victim's room with a knife he had to use during dinner. Why would he carry a knife on the visit to kill, of course? And with that, I believe the prosecution has proven this was a premeditated murder. Amazing, Mr. Edgeworth, absolutely brilliant. Brilliantly clear deduction. Edgeworth had this plan from the very beginning. It must be one of those traps that it's walked right headlong into. Murder weapon with fingerprints and a button from the victim's costume. It's quite a sizable amount of evidence here. Safe to say that any further deliberation is a waste of time, Your Honor. Although, I wouldn't mind if the defense were to present evidence not yet shown to the court. Evidence not yet shown means evidence that his court isn't seen yet. In other words, new evidence. What does the defense have to say about this, Mr. Wright? Well, against the judge's favoring the prosecution right now. I don't know what you want from me. There's just something wrong here. Gavel or his will be ringing out the sound of our defeat. Mr. Wright, do you have something important necessary to prove to this court? Actually, I do. There's one piece of evidence that catches my attention, something that the court has yet to see. Mr. Wright, I will say this one more time. I did not feel the trial needs to continue at all. However, I'm giving you one chance and only one. What the judge is saying, why, right? Don't try pulling one of your usual bluffs here. Burns for all of us. I'm not bluffing, but alright. Good thing I saved. It's a wine glass, is it not? Let's look at the photo of the crime scene one more time. He's a mess because of the victim's struggle against his assailant. The vase was broken, his makeup all over the floor. These were all things that were at one point sitting on top of the dresser. Well, yes, I see your point. However, the glass that's sitting on top of the dresser is mysteriously untouched. One thing that is not falling over with everything else in the wine glass. Piece of evidence is more than strange enough to warrant further consideration. Well, what else do you have to say? Well, yes. It is a little peculiar. Yeah, isn't it? I thought it was. Stop looking at me with those puppy dog eyes of yours now. Mr. Edgeworth, what is it, Your Honor? Your opinion? You don't need my opinion, because there's no special meaning to this glass. What? Chuckle. It's safe to say that the glass was set there after the crime took place. By the person who discovered the body, Adrian Andrews, for example. She could have easily been so shocked that she set the glass down without thinking. And very plausible, Mr. What about you, Mr. Wright? Did you really have set the glass down? There's no way. Your week here, the trial is over. I can look further my proof later. Now I have to trust my instinct and point with certainty. I fall for it if you're thought-provoking enough. The defense would like to call a challenge to the prosecution's theory. You would like to see something that proves that Mr. Andrews who set up the cup on the table. Turn the situation on its head yet again, as usual. Mr. Edward, do you have any proof to back up your claim? No, he has any. He's just bluffing. I'll let Mr. Wright. I never say anything unless I have this evidence to support it. What? You're not thinking hard enough today, right? Did you think that wine glass escaped my notice? Yeah. Of course, it has been thoroughly inspected. Fingerprints. There were only one set of fingerprints left in that wine glass. Only one? Whose were they? They were not the victim nor the defendants, rather they were of Adrian Andrews. What? That's when I said that the person who had discovered the body had left it there. And were we done here, Mr. Wright? I can't believe it fell into the trap. Miss Andrews was probably holding the glass when she went to see Mr. Corrado. But upon seeing his dead body, she was stunned and threw the glass down the dresser. What you just said makes a lot of sense. Now do you see, right? I can't change any part of my scenario as it explains everything all too well. All long and hard this past year about what it means to be a prosecutor. From here on out, I will show you the answer I have come to discover. Wait a second, Mr. Edward. The prosecution has provided enough evidence for me to enter my verdict. Unfortunately, I cannot allow you to pass judgment yet. The prosecution has yet another witness we would like the court to hear from. Another witness. Bailiff, please bring in the next witness. What in the world is Mr. Edward thinking? Now the witness, please state your name and occupation. Witness, your name and occupation, please. Rat-a-tat-tat-tat. Gotcha. I wonder what happened to that composure he had earlier. I bet you boys have been what, a year since we last met, hasn't it? You should be more happy to see me. I saw the report with your testimony, but who knew that under that helmet? It was the wicked witch of the wood, witness stand. I tell you the time I know what I'm supposed to do. But today I'm going to tell you anything and everything. With things that don't have to do with a terrible crime. This witness, the terrible crime is all the court needs to know. Rather than take. Oof. Judge, talking to my dear Angie right now. Don't worry about this, perhaps. Yes, madame. No, please, by all means, interrupt her, please. Anyway, witness, your testimony, please. It's true what they say, that youth are hot-headed nowadays, now that I mind at all. Edgy. Now then, what should I start with? The witness was in security detail. the hotel during the murder. This is correct, Miss Oldbag. It was a great job being able to see my dear age wand. Almost too much for my little heart to handle. You mean you were a fan of the victim? Look, everyone is crazy over the Engarde, saying he's cute in a flat, fresh wave or something, but not me. I wouldn't say anything so silly. After all, I have no interest in a little child like him. Only interested in the real man, Juan Carrata. They're both the same age. But those two are the same age. Anyway, as I was saying, I was pacing in front of his room that night. Very well, please tell the court what you witnessed the night of the murder. Leave it to me, Edgy Poo. Anyway, after the ceremony, I went to pace around in the hallway in front of his room. Something I was interested in finding out, you know. As I was on the job, I made sure to keep a good eye out for the whole time. When somebody showed up, it was a man coming out of poor one's room. A man guarded, he was trying to sneak his way out of one's room. So Mr. Ngardi came out of the victim's room. See, it has to be him, he's the murderer. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. This old bag, what was your point? What was your post on that night? The lobby. I was supposed to help set up the stage for that trifling show. But I refused to help. I'll have you know it was for that red-headed samurai show. I aimed to get a few of their nails. Maybe it was a good thing the show didn't go on. Besides, that manager with the glasses seemed to be working hard at it without me. So I thought I'd take a break and spin my wings a little. That's when you went to the hang around the victim's door. Something you were interested in, and just what was that? It was not some little thing I can just go around telling everyone, you know. Edgeworth, what is this thing she has interested in? I have no idea. I despise gossip, Your Honor. Gossip. Should it prove relevant, we can always have her opinion to her testimony later. We should enforce it right now. And the witness stay in the vicinity of the victim's door the entire time. And would you tell us the number of the people who went in and out of Mr. Carter's room? I have no idea. I wasn't born, so I could count things for those who didn't pay attention to class. That's why ever since I turned 20, I quit keeping track of how old I really am. I suppose that would explain why your age was not included in the report. In any case, witness then saw someone, correct? That's when someone showed up, and then coming out of Mr. Porwan's room. Who in the world was that? Not allowed to say. This sort of information has to be carefully guarded from the masses, Sonny. The man that came out of Juan's room. He was. I'm too scared, I can't say his name out loud. Oh, what I wouldn't give the half Francisca's whip right about now. Guess I can tell you since you're such a bad boy anyway. Madam Garde. Saw my client, are you sure about that? Yes, see. Really? I mean, Brat, when I say I saw someone, I saw that person. Why do I get a sense of deja vu? Even though if we repeated last year, I shouldn't delve into this a bit further. Just tell the court about the man's clothes in more detail. What a troublesome man you are, really, as if something like that really matters. But it does. Now what was it? Yes, it was that thing. Gaudy thing he's always wearing, the racing jacket. He was wearing that in the detention center too. Thing meant for nothing but seducing women out of their pantaloons. Tom for men. Alright, so Mr. Wright, I'm just important and relevant anyway. Yes. Of course it was important, Your Honor. Perhaps you would like to point out what part of the testimony was important to see, Mr. Edgeworth. Your Honor, I request a detail of what the witness just said about the jacket be appended to her testimony. I don't quite see what you're getting at with this, but alright, witness, please. I don't like to be the bad mouth anyone without reason, but if I must. Objection! Miss Oldbag. What? Don't say my name for no reason. You know what this is. Oh, it's button number 2 in the ninja's costume. Now I know she's an obsessed fan. She identified it in simple lines. Give it here, give it here. If you don't give it to me, I'll punish you with this. Right, hit the 10. Wow, she really is a die-hard fan of a button covered in blood. The button was discovered on the Mr. Unguarded's body during the full body search. See, the button proved beyond a shadow of doubt that it was the rascal Unguarded. It was caught up in the pleats of his nickel samurai hakama pants. See, and Unguarded is a nickel samurai. Witness. Now, it may just be me. I do have an active imagination, but just now, didn't you say that the defendant, Unguarded, was wearing his usual racing jacket? I'm so sorry. Sorry that you judge people based on what they wear. If I wore the trendiest dress, then maybe I've been said to put up with wearing the ridiculous looking outfit you agree this outfit is hideous, right? I got a tape recorder stuck on my chest. Let me tell you, it was heavy, so heavy. I wish I would have switched the CDs to the edge to go and tell him that dream alive. Kids out of there, I will understand now. Take a look in the mirror. You can close are about interesting as documented currently. Look at that edgy Puya style. Hold your tongue still for 1 second. So what you saw was not Mr. Unguarded, the man. Mr. Unguarded, the nickel samurai? What do you think about it? They're really one and the same anyway. Soul bag. It's a very important point we're talking about. Ejibu, do you think so too? Well, it might be something worth considering. Just say it's important to agree with me for a change. Just think carefully and try to remember as much as you can before you testify. Alright, if you insist. Ejibu wants Sai, not you. That's all. Guarded, yes, no, I remember. Nickel Samurai, that's right, it was Nickel Samurai that I saw. That's what would have been convenient for him to wear this costume during the murder. He had to go to that post-ceremony stage show right after the crime, you know? He must have worn that Nickel Samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan. I knew it. I knew you'd say he was inside the costume. What? Do you think that could have been someone else inside the costume? Don't be so bad, little boy, thinking such rude things. But the possibility does exist. Youngins, today I told you there's no way it was anyone else. I know that, because I said so, and what I say is the truth. And she just was delightful with witnesses, which a year ago. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. I mean, there wouldn't be fingerprints, right, if there was in the outfit. Would you please get on with your testimony? Watch your language, young man. What sort of tone is that to take with an elder? Your youthfulness isn't what it used to be, so you shouldn't forgive me for everything. If you keep on barking at me like that, I'll start singing at the top of my lungs. What? A circling figure by the sea, standing all alone at sea. He's a nickel samurai. I'm singing someone help my warriors. Mr. Edwards, can you please do something about this racket? Witness, I'll give you a piece of gum later if you'll be good and stick to just the facts. Okay, you promise, right? Right? I'll be sending the bill for the chewing gum to your office at a later date. Remind me to send you a thank you to you're reminding me to send you a thank you note later to Edward's old chum. Be a little more careful with your testimony, please. Not too long ago you said he was wearing his racing jacket and now he's not. Not too long ago. Let me ask you this, when you were itty bitty, what was your grand dream? Huh? What did you want to be when you grew up, whippersnapper? My dream, huh? Well, I wanted to be the Judge Wagner. Hero of the public court, so what? See? Look right where you are now, you're not the Judge Wagner. Are you? Well, what I said earlier. He puts any weight into things like that. Now is everything, I can't be held responsible for the past. When the court becomes theatrics over testimonies. All that matters is the man was inside the costume. Isn't that enough? Human unlocked? Judge Wagner? Press all backs claim that it was the Nickel Samurai that I saw in just for all episode 4. Why would that be? That way, no one could see his face, of course. But there's still no advantage for him that I can see. In fact, you could think the costume would make him stand out all the more. You're such an annoying child, you know that? You disagree with everything I say. Isn't that what you're always doing to me? I got it, maybe it was more troublesome for him to change in and out of his costume. Is there anyone else scheduled to appear at the post-ceremony show? Well, all the contestants were supposed to go on the stage in the friendly gesture thing. That includes the Jam Ninja. Of course, it included him. That's why when Engarde came out the Dear John's room, I didn't give a second thought. I see. Well, anyway. So let me ask you one last time. The person you saw, it really was Nickel Samurai. Showy as ever. Haven't I been saying that from the very beginning? I've thrown the towel yet. You don't need to think too hard on this one. There's a contradiction in your testimony that's sitting right in plain sight. Whether that contradiction means for us, well, I've had to figure that out what you're talking about first, but okay. I was right. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, so it's a knife, big deal. You're trying to scare me with that, I'll have you know it won't work. But no, that's not my intention at all. That's a knife that was used in the murder, correct? Your Honor, do you know why the piece of evidence is important to the case? You don't even have to ask, it's because the defendant's fingerprints are on it. That's what you're driving at? That is exactly what I'm driving at. What are we driving at? Whose car was we driving? Mr. Engarde was really in the Nickel Samurai costume at the time of the murder. It's impossible for his fingerprints to have been left on the knife. Actually, it would have wiped all previous fingerprints on the knife right off. Well, that's right, the Nickel Samurai wears gloves, doesn't he? Probably took his gloves off before he began the stabbing. Why would he do something like that? To leave his prints on the murder weapon? No way he would do something like that. However, there's one possibility. And let's hear your possibility. It's very simple. The defendant went into the victim's room while the costume of Nickel Samurai. At the time, the defendant had no intent to murder. Probably just going to relax and talk with the victim about the stage show. Which is why he took the gloves off. But the murder still did take place. Well known that there was bad blood between the defendant and the victim. I've heard that before. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say about Mr. Edwards' theory? Edwards' theory goes like this. When the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intention of killing him. Now, up to this point, are there any problems with yes? 300 did something in the earlier testimony. Babbling about? Support Mr. Engarde's KO. I suppose Mr. Engarde was the killer if that's the case. I think it's impossible for the killer to have gone there with the victim's room without intent. After the knife. Am I dying in here? The knife that was used by Mr. Engarde at dinner. This has been the stinking thing we pressed for the entirety of this trial. Which means that my client was in fact the killer. Then he brought the knife with him when he went to visit Mr. Kurata. I suppose. However, you just said that yourself. Time the defendant held no intent to murder. If that were true, then why would he bring a knife? He wouldn't, would he? Which means, Mr. Edgeworth, your theory was flawed from sufficient. That's sufficient one. Supposition 1, sorry. And one more thing, if the murderer was wearing the costume at the time of the murder, then there should be glove marks left on the knife. Which means the defendant's fingerprints wouldn't be on all over it like the bee's hive. The bees on the hive. Donka, donka, donka. Donka, donka, donka. And that brings me to my final point. The knife was planted by the real killer to hide their identity. See this. Order, I say order in the court. Was this knife really planted by the killer? Why would a murderer do such a thing? To frame Matt Engarde. To frame my client, Mr. Engarde, of course. To frame. Aren't you forcing the interpretation just a little too hard in this one? We just established that the witness saw the Nickel Samurai costume. And if that were true, then there wouldn't be a single fingerprint on this knife. Witness. Looks like I made your life a tiny bit more difficult, huh, Jipu? Witness, did you or did you not really see the Nickel Samurai? Well, I guess at first I might have forgotten, but... Are you saying you mixed up Mr. Engarde with the Nickel Samurai, his character on TV? But I mean, I couldn't really do anything about that now. Look, I was waiting around in front of the doors because, well, I wasn't waiting around for the Nickel Samurai, that's for sure. I was waiting for the Nickel Samurai. Alright, then who were you waiting around for, then? Well, that's a top secret to anyone outside of security. feeling that you were waiting for Mr. Juan Corrado, am I correct? Yes. What do you think? You are a sad amateur with a terrible case of nearsightedness. Amateur me? What am I an amateur of? Old Bag was waiting around in front of the victim's room. I saved in a while. But it doesn't sound like she was waiting to catch a glimpse of Mr. Corrado. Maybe. Phoenix, maybe the old bag was waiting around for that person. If it was the person I think of it as me is hiding at, it's probably certainly possible. This old bag, you were waiting for this person to come out of the room, weren't you? Who was this person? Adrian Andrews? Mr. Engarde's manager. But why would the defendant manager be in the victim's room? Seems that this is the latest rumor in circulation, Your Honor. Oh, this as well as I see. Seems to be really into the article, if it can be called such a thing. Manager with the initials A, you're saying it's Adrian Andrews without a doubt. The witness thought so as well. Humph. Looks like you found me out. Well, that's fine. I can throw away the whole sworn confidentiality stuff then. What in the world are you? Watch out, Phoenix. I got a bad feeling about this. A very bad feeling. Some very secret information from a certain source. That's why I was doing my little. That's why I was doing my own little investigation. Secret, of course. But what for? Oh, just for myself. Personal reasons and all that. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, how will you proceed from here? I really don't want to do this, however, I cannot simply let this point slide. I see. Very well done, witness. Please testify about the secret information. You're ready. This is going to take the wind off your hands. Sure, we're all capable of handling this. Really, it's just not like we're 10 years old. That Engarde is one evil man. He thought he could ruin poor Juan by causing a huge scandal. When he knew that, he sent his own manager to get things close with Juan. I cannot condone such dirty tricks, so I took action. Ellen, this is top secret. You got that? Nobody else but you and me know it, okay? The defendant sent his manager? What a distasteful topic for this court. Well, nobody's about gossip. And isn't there a saying, the truth is never pleasant? Never heard that one before. Mr. Edgeworth, what about the Adrian Andrews person? We looked into this matter and found that the truth their article proposes is in fact baseless gossip. But should this be true, this proves that the defendant did bear ill will towards the victim. It means I have to smash the rumor once and for all. Now that Mr. Wright may cross-examine the witness. Careful, the old bag seems rather excited right now. That's right, Engarde is nothing but your average foul-blooded youth. As the old saying goes, you gotta burn old bags with fire. Time to fire up the afterburners and hit the highway to the danger zone. Evil man. You can't say something like that without proof this is slander. But it's true that woman was getting intimate with poor Juan. Look, it says so right here, doesn't it? Manager to the stars, Miss AA. Name of the magazine that came from this gossip land. What? Are you saying that the gossip is all just a pack of lies? What do you know? What do you know? Suppose next you'll swear to me that the news is 100% truth. Honestly, Sonny, you can't discriminate between the news and gossip. Discrimination is bad, Mr. Wright. Discriminate? When did I do anything like that? Anyway, Engarde will never get me to say touche. Scandal? What do you mean by that? You're a dim-witted one, aren't you? I can't believe you don't know what a scandal is. Honestly, what are they teaching kids in middle school these days? Oh, no, I wasn't asking what the word scandal means. Even I know that much. Well, that Engarde thought he couldn't own a monopoly of popularity. You don't have any proof that Mr. Engarde did any such thing. You must be suffering from the shock of hearing the truth. And now since you're in such much shock, you can't do anything right. You're right, I can't do anything. But oh boy, I wish I could do something about you. Alright then, Sonny, show me what you got. Can you show me proof that Engarde didn't bear any ill will towards Juan? forget. I'm gonna let you push me around. I'm gonna let you push me around that easily. Many a man who would have said those exact words in particular form. You should brace yourself this time. I have no idea. You think if I'm here, Jibu? What are you handing over to me for? You can give that jagged-headed baboon boy a message from me, please. Tell him that no matter what he does, the only thing he's good is failing. What should I say, right? Oh, what should I say, baboon boy? Alright. But I took action. Like I already told you, I was lying way close to the crime scene. The slimy woman came out of the walls of the room, going to capture her and teach her good lessons, something you humans need. I'm going to teach her a good lesson. I'm going to make her eat the damaging beans of my ray gun. Like this. No, stop. Well, it was too bad the woman didn't come through the door that night. Wait. What? Busy woman? Tea time with the kids is over? Secret information like this that no one else knows yet. If that's true, then how do you know the secret information? Huh? Well, that's because I'm a pro. Yes, that's it. It's a secret, even if you drill a hole in my brain to find out the road that will, I guess that's just a secret piece of information. You don't be a good girl and tell me where you got the secret information. You won't get to go home today. Ajipu, what are you gonna do to help me? I don't have to do this. Do this for me with no reward. Much of a reward, but much of a choice. We just could have gotten the information from anywhere. It's possible that it was spontaneously made up inside what it said. I should be Ruffles blabbering. You don't know where the information came from. It's quite a waste of time to focus on this line of questioning. All about getting inside information. There's something I could use to figure that out. Tidbit gossip, doesn't it? Just ignore it either. It makes your client look bad either way. Don't think I heard anything really out of the ordinary just now. Catch your own. She stole the camera, didn't she? Investigative photographer, a lot of heart. Oh yes, I remember that mischievous girl. She reported that she had lost a certain note she had written to herself. Reported such a thing? A piece of paper she had written down some of her outrageous impressions about the relationship between the victim and Miss Andrews. What? Outrageous ideas, you say? No, I said impressions. And then, everything written on that piece of paper is completely meaningless. Ah, that's it. That's the note. No, you see, this is something completely different. A top secret list of groceries to buy. You were the one who took Miss Hart's note? I'm a huge fan of Juan, that's why. Infamous puffy hair whippersnapper. She's working with that evil Engarde, she said so herself. Engarde, I'm a psychic. She was so happy, smiling like a silly duck. Only checking what she had written. Ejipu, you believe it, don't you? Only trying to help out like the angel I am. Only one little piece of paper, I've never taken anything else before. You really should come up with a supply of cheese to match your vintage wine. But it was only a piece of paper, I suppose we can avoid this just once. Is she really sorry? Should I forgive her? Pile on more pressure. Get away. To find some way to like definitely load her prosecution. Eunice, you said that the only thing you stole was that note. Is that correct? Stole? Why don't you listen more carefully, you annoying brat? Take this piece of paper from the terrible lonely trash can, that's all. You're lying, and I can prove it. You're putting my credibility under scrutiny again? Soulbag, I don't believe that note was the only thing you stole that night. This old bag, the note was with the camera inside this case, wasn't it? A camera. Yesterday, Lada Hara was raising a huge stink over a camera. She kept saying something like, my sweetie $1,600 camera disappeared to me. Why? Why witness? Was it Gramps? You have the note, then it's only logical that you have the camera too. It's like you found me out again, Sonny. This the camera? This the camera you're looking for? Well, that's... What, even though, I look like this, I'm still a person, you know? For being males like you, I fall in love and borrow things from people. I think your definition of borrow is a little off. On the woman's business card, and that's when I noticed it said, Flying Bag Celebrity Photographer Extraordinaire. Well, when I saw that, I had to know what sort of pictures you had taken. Professional security guards, my business, and these things. Bailiff, check the person, check this camera's photos, hurry. Let's examine the crime, or the camera. Skip the dialogue, I don't know what it said. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do we have? Only one photo that seems to be relevant to this case. Please present it to the court. That's a Nickel Samurai. See, I told you, that's the guy I saw. Proved that the witness was not lying earlier about this matter. I'll have this photo added to the court record. What does all this mean, Mr. Edgeworth? The photo itself does not prove the person is the defendant, however. In his own confession, Mr. Ngari stated that. Time of the murder, he was still in his Nickel Samurai costume. That's the case, and the Nickel Samurai is... How do we come to this? It brings us to the end. We have examined every piece of evidence thoroughly. Final comments, Mr. Wright? The court will consider them before we close. Do you agree with this photo as decisive evidence against your client? But it really is decisive. Then we're done for it. But if I raise an objection, can I look at the photo? My overlay is above the eyeballs, if that matters. Man has no feet. It always comes back to the feet, dude. I'm telling you. I'm still blown. Like I'm still losing my mind over the one from the previous game, where the dude was literally like half the size, and like oh he hurt his leg. He's literally like on his dragging like a foot of clothing. Can't make any mistake here. There's only one road out of this mess. Strange. Something is strange with this photo. I knew this was coming, right? You're false, Mr. Edgeworth. Then we can all agree there's nothing strange with this photo. No way for this fence to debunk this photo, even with the bunker's buster. Debunk with the bunker buster, is that what you're planning to do, Mr. Wright? Anyway, please look at the photo one more time. You really believe enough that something wrong with this photo? Then you should only need one chance, Kurt. Oh well, I have to find something wrong with this photo. I can't let this chance go by. What the heck did she take this photo from anyway? Out of focus, why can't we get to take a good shot? First thing that counts. Now then, let's hear your objection. Take that! Doesn't go. I would like to direct the court's attention to this one area right here. What area you're pointing to? His ankles? If you could see this person's ankles, that would be one thing. However, you can't. And what does that mean? The costume person in this photo could not have been disregarded. What do you make of this? I wonder if you would care to elaborate on the actual facts that is. Let's take a look at this Nickel Samurai poster. Pay attention. Please pay particular attention to this area around the bottom of the comma. His socks. You can see the sock. We pointed out the warlock toes. Exactly. However, in this photo, the samurai clearly holding his akama up by the walk. just a walk. There's only one explanation for this. The person inside the costume is clearly much shorter than Alright, I'm gonna turn things around for myself this time. That's curious. What is? Edward isn't usually calm today. That's true. Letting the trial run itself as if he's only along for the ride. Along for the ride? What do you mean by that? You can only guess that perhaps he doesn't feel under attack at all. If he doesn't feel under attack, then I haven't damaged his case at all. Mr. Edgeworth, where does this leave us? The person in the photo is not Angarde. Everything the prosecution has tried to prove has become meaningless. Figured it would come to this. What? Right, I have something I want to ask you. I think you have proven that the person inside the costume is not Angarde. In that case, who is this the photo of? There's a person wearing the Nickel Samurai costume. Don't stress out over this, Phoenix. Is very simple. We should be focusing on the Edgeworth's attitude, don't you think? Yeah, why does he seem so calm? Mr. Wright, so your thoughts? Who is the person in the photograph? I believe it is... Andrews, but... I don't know, am I right? One thing sounds right to me, so... Andrea and Andrews? You want to know who the Nickel Samurai is? Isn't it other than this woman? And why would you say it must be Miss Andrews, or was it not the world? Was it when the world points you to her? For starters, she is short, and she can freely move in and out of Mr. Angarde's room. Finally, she had dinner with Mr. Angarde that night. How's it all that up? It means that it makes it very easy for her to get a certain item. A certain knife with Mr. Angarde's fingerprints all over it. The knife that was used as a murder weapon? Why don't you say what you want, Mr. Wright? I have to do this now. This is my best chance to turn things around. This moves to indict Miss Adrian Andrews in the murder of Juan Carrata. And Miss Andrews to try to frame the defendant for that crime. Looks like this trial has had the most unexpected development. Mr. Edgeworth, yes, Your Honor. Court is issuing a subpoena for Miss Adrian Andrews. The verdict cannot be passed without first hearing her testimony. Alright, this is it. It's kind of bad for us, huh? What do you mean? Adrian Andrews is summoned to court as a witness, and the trial will go on for another day. One more day. Ach. If I don't get the verdict today, I am. Now then, we shall set Miss Andrews' testimony for tomorrow. What am I supposed to do? Judge is about to join the court. I mean, nothing you can do, right? We're gonna raise an objection too. Wait and see. I mean, left no evidence, no nothing. Nothing court will adjourn for today. Hold it. I am poor wasting such a valuable time. Edgeworth? No. Your Honor, I request that you please continue with today's trial. But, you cannot continue due to unexpected development. I think you underestimate me, Your Honor. What do you mean by that? And Mr. Phoenix Wright should slave his weight as opponent named Adrian Anderson. This is all happening according to plan. Even if Wright was a bit slow to catch on. Was the meaning of this statement, Mr. Edgeworth? Adrian Andrews is currently waiting in the prosecution lobby. He's next. Everything was planned out in advance by this man. Somehow I knew there would be no way Edgeworth would overlook Miss Andrews. Like this battle is far from over. Exactly. Very well, we call this witness, however, before we proceed. Recess, let's go. For the witness, your time, Mr. Edgeworth. We'll take a 10-minute recess. Alright, I'm switching games. To what? I don't know, I'll figure it out. There's options. Give me a save. Alright, that's enough of this game for now. Dunk, 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 ding. Okay, I'm back in a minute.